Okay, so we're recording the talk. We will be posting it. I hope to have it up by Monday afternoon on the innovatebio.org website. Next week, there will be a break, and then the talks will return March 10th with me and John McDowell. We'll be talking about, from Delaware Technical Community College, we'll be talking about the really neat ATE project they've been working on with developing curriculum around CRISPR, which is pretty cool. Today, we're going to hear from Dr. Margaret Bryans from Montgomery County Community College and Dr. Kristy Shuda McGuire from Westar Institute. And as I said, we will have this information posted. And if you go to Innovate Bio, you can read more about their projects and learn more about what they're doing. And in Kristy's case, look at information from the talk she gave last year. So the format today, both talks will be approximately 20 minutes. Questions will be after. If you'd like to put questions in chat, that's great. We will field them after the talks. And at the end, we will have a survey that we'd really like you to complete. And that helps inform us and helps us do a better job and do things we can do anything we can to make this a good experience for you and worthwhile experience for our speakers as well. All right, so without further ado, Dr. Margaret Bryans, take it away.
Thank you, Sandy. So I'm going to talk about the ATE funded project at Montgomery County Community College called Building an Advanced Therapy Technician Workforce in Southeastern PA. I'm the principal investigator and I work with Hetal Doshi, who's the grant manager. So the first gene therapy and the first cell therapy was actually developed and discovered at the University of Pennsylvania. And this has created really a hub of cell and gene therapy companies in Southeastern PA. The first gene therapy that was developed was Luxturna, which is an AAV, viral-based RPE65 gene therapy for retinal disorders. And the first cell therapy was an autologous CAR T therapy directed to CD19 called Kymriah. So as I mentioned, the Philadelphia region in Southeastern PA is now a hub for cell and gene therapy companies. It's thought to be second in the country for number of companies and investment in the sector. So these are some of the companies that sort of were developed out of the groundbreaking work at University of Pennsylvania. So there are 40 of these companies in Philadelphia, and then where I am in Montgomery County. So this is the Southeastern PA that the title refers to. So we have Philadelphia County, and then Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, and Delaware, really. So there are scores of cell and gene therapy companies in these counties as well, in addition to in Montgomery County, some rather large contract development and manufacturing organizations, CDMOs, Center for Breakthrough Medicine, Charles River, and Resilience. And they're really requiring scores of entry-level technicians to make these advanced therapies for clinical trials and also for commercial distribution. In addition, we have big pharma companies like Merck and GlaxoSmithKline who are competing for the same pool of technicians to make their vaccines at Merck and monoclonal antibodies at GSK. So this has led to a shortage of technicians for the cell and gene therapy workforce and really the life science workforce in general in our region. And it hasn't gone unnoticed. In fact, the Philadelphia Commerce Center of Commerce commissioned a study back in 2019. And here you can see the best case scenario, could be the best case scenario, is that the number of life science employees is going to double in the 10-year span between 2020 and 2030. In this scenario, the companies actually manufacture their advanced therapies in this region as well, which is something that the state would like to happen. We'd like to keep these companies here. So clearly, the backdrop for writing this grant was, looking to the future, we need more technicians to manufacture these cell and gene therapies. The current state of sort of a level of education of the employees in this sector is still heavy on the bachelor's and graduate degree side, and that's because there's still a lot of research and development going on. But looking to the future, in the next 5-7 years, there's certainly going to be a lot more manufacture with these CDMOs, and this is where the entry-level associate's degree graduates come in. So we're looking for a much higher demand for our graduates as we move forward into the next 5 years. So hopefully the work that we're doing with this project and with others in the region is going to solve that problem. So these are the main goals of the grant. So to create a regional industry academic collaborative to develop new curriculum and credentials for technician training. So it's clear that one community college can't produce enough graduates for these entry-level positions. So we need to do more. Facilitate adoption of new curriculum at regional community colleges and other programs throughout the region, and doing this through mentoring faculty and offering faculty workshops to bring more faculty along and into this area of teaching. And then to focus on the pipeline, to get more high school level students interested and aware of this career path, so we can fill our programs with students and actually produce more graduates. So those are the overarching goals of the project. So I'd first like to talk about the Industry Academic Collaborative, and this I feel has been one of the big successes of the project so far, is bringing to the table. We had these in person, and we had the first one in May 2020. So bringing to the table in person a number of hiring managers from local cell and gene therapy companies, and then faculty from local academic institutions, including the Westar Institute and Dr. Shuda Maguire, Community College of Philadelphia, Bucks County Community College, my college, of course, and our biggest transfer partner is Thomas Jefferson University, where our students go on to do their bachelor's or master's. So bringing all of these stakeholders to the table and really allowing a lot of crosstalk. The academic partners describe the current training programs, bringing light to what they're doing. Industry partners learned exactly what we teach. The industry partners describe their employment needs, the roles, how many they need of these technicians, the education level, importantly, of these roles that are in demand. We reviewed the WeBet skill standards. In a sense, this ATE project is an extension of the work that we did with the Nimble funded WeBet project. And we captured additional skills and knowledge from local hiring managers at what they would like our graduates to have. But really importantly, we'd started establishing this network, this regional network, which has led to a lot more collaborations than just this project. So that was our first collaborative meeting, and we had a second roundtable discussion in November. So an important thing that came out of our first roundtable discussion is that the Contract Development and Manufacturing Organizations, Centre for Breakthrough Medicine and Resilience in Charles River, indicated that they would hire sub-associate level graduates with the right training. So we've come a long way from the preference for bachelor's degrees to, okay, well, associate degree students have the appropriate skills, so we'll hire associate level graduates. And now to say, well, they don't have to finish their associate. If they have the appropriate skills, we're going to hire them with a certificate. So that was really great to hear. So the second roundtable discussion says, okay, now you would hire with a certificate or with workforce training. What exactly do you want them to know? So we discussed workforce training program models in other states like North Carolina and Maryland, and Dr. Shuda Maguire talked about her workforce training program in Philadelphia. And then we asked the industry partners to break into breakout groups and delineate the core lab skills that should be taught in this certificate program, and also the aseptic processing skills. So we got a wealth of information on what we should be teaching in these more short-term certificate programs. So we discussed an aseptic processing workforce training program, and we outlined what needed to be taught. So that was very well done, and we're very happy with that outcome. So just to talk about the overall outcomes of our industry academic collaborative, I mentioned most of them already, but other things that's come from it is increased visibility of community colleges and other regional training programs. They're always surprised at the level of skills that we teach, the equipment that we have at our community colleges, and how we can set our students up for, our graduates up for success as they hit the workforce. We talked about, we have increased offers for facility tours at these CGT companies, many offers for guest speakers for our programs. So just a lot more interaction in general between where we're teaching and the industry partners. And importantly, we developed a blueprint for an aseptic processing training program, and created this regional network. So I'm very happy with where we are right now. I feel like we have a regional ecosystem. I know Linnea likes that word, to address the cell and gene therapy technician shortage. So we have our academic partners, we have our industry partners, and there's others on this slide that we've had individual conversations with. But we're also now talking to the Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce and the West Philadelphia Skills Initiative, to workforce development organizations, and how we can help create further workforce programs, and maybe sites, or maybe use community college labs to teach this certificate program that we'd like to develop. So it's been a great collaborative effort, and there's really more that's happened than I can go into as far as all the collaborations that are going on, but it's been a great experience. I want to move on now to the curriculum that we're developing at MCCC to address the skills and knowledge that our graduates need. So we're going to develop a new advanced therapy course, which will be itself a micro-credential, and that will fit into our certificate program in biotechnology, which will be sort of updated and expanded to be a certificate in biotechnology and advanced bioprocessing. The certificate's embedded within the associate's degree, and of course many of our students go on and complete their bachelor's. But from our high school dual enrollment partners, coming in with the prerequisites to take the new course, which could then go on to be a certificate, and from our industry partners, they can enter the workforce at that time, or go on and finish their associate's degree, enter the workforce, and bachelor's, enter the workforce there. Our students that come in with a bachelor's already can take the advanced therapy micro-credential and immediately enter the workforce, or continue on for the certificate or the associate's degree if their bachelor's is not in life science, for example. So many avenues for our students to enter the workforce. To get into a little bit more specifics about our curriculum, of course, I'm basing the course on what we learned with the skill standards for cell and gene therapy, and we published on the MBC2 website, so from the WeBet project. So this has the skill standards for bioprocessing, but also great insight on what we should be teaching in a cell therapy or a gene therapy course. So we started there, and this is some of the didactic content of the advanced therapy course. So foundational knowledge in immunology and virology, landscape of cell and gene therapy, numerous case studies. We already include some case studies into our courses in cell and gene therapy, the overall process of making cell therapies and gene therapies, and very importantly, focusing on working in a regulated environment and the quality and regulatory requirements for working in these companies. Our lab-based curriculum, we've decided, will be an AAV production in 293 cells. We've already partway through, most of the way through that curriculum. We've developed it, and I'm going to talk more about that on next Wednesday at the Regenerative Medicine webinar that you may have heard about. We'll cover all of the AAV analytics, qPCR, HPLC, and ELISA. So we're developing SOPs and batch records for this process. We'll work with our CAR T cells that we will acquire from an academic partner, and the students will be growing them and doing some efficacy assays. We'll focus a lot on aseptic processing training, working with single-use technology. And even though we don't have the course complete and up and running, we've already incorporated some of that work into our current courses. And here you see one of our students gowned and using a sterile tube welder. She's about to perform a media fill into the single-use cell bag, welding the tubes together as a process. Aseptic processing technician would do. So we've already incorporated some of that material into our labs already. So we're developing the curriculum, but we also want to disseminate it to regional faculty so they can incorporate it into their programs. So some of the work we've been doing around that is we're offering regional faculty workshops, so 3-day hands-on workshops to have the faculty come in and get trained on what we're doing, and allow them to know about the equipment they'll need to purchase and so on. So the first one we did was last summer. We did a workshop on quality in the biomanufacture of traditional biotherapeutics and advanced therapies. This summer in July, we will host a second workshop on aseptic processing and manufacture of a gene therapy, and next year, manufacture of a cell therapy. We're also sharing the current MCCC curriculum at all levels from all biotechnology courses through sharing syllabi, course content, materials, cells, protocols, anything that local faculty need to adopt some of what they should be teaching to train their students. We're also connecting through the Cell and Gene Therapy Collaborative and also one-on-one meetings with the faculty from the local community colleges, and providing all of our materials that we developed open source on the MBC2 website. So last summer's workshop was quite a success. We had 6 faculty from 3 different institutions. We offered the 3-day hands-on workshop, and from our external evaluator, we learned that 286 students will be impacted, and the participants reported significant gains in understanding of the content and confidence in teaching the material. And this is just one segment from our evaluation plan. Plans to implement the material from the workshop, as you can see, were pretty high. So I think we gave the faculty material that they could take away and use and incorporate into some of their existing courses. So this was based on quality control and quality assurance, really, for biomanufacturing. And just some of the participant takeaways, which we were quite pleased with, understanding that they could incorporate some of the aspects of what they learned into current courses, the type of equipment they would need to buy in order to teach biomanufacturing and quality science in their own labs, and just gains in confidence for teaching, quality science and quality control in their courses. So our final goal is to really have more students in our programs. So we have to develop programs that can have more graduates, because there's just such a demand. I have more jobs available than the graduates we can produce at this time. So clearly we have to expand the pipeline, and we also have to diversify the pipeline. So we're offering high school workshops, summer high school workshops, so week-long workshops for local high school students. So we're focusing on local high schools that have a particularly diverse population, and really trying to create awareness of the biotechnology field, and especially the cell and gene therapy field, which is quite exciting for them to learn about. We're doing this through hands-on activities in the lab, such as CRISPR and cell culture, and obviously, and also industry speakers. So this past summer, we had 4 MC3 program alumni come back and talk to the high school students about their path to the workforce, and they're now working at Centre for Breakthrough Medicines of Resilience. So they had very exciting talks on cell therapy and gene therapy that really captured the students' attention. And just some outcomes from the academy, from the high school workshop. These are sort of before and after. This might be kind of difficult to read, but just really asking about their interest in biotechnology and life science before and after. So these are the students that answered high or very high as far as their level of interest before and after the 1 week experience. So interest in molecular biology and CRISPR and gene therapy, and this is their intent to continue studying life sciences and their intent to pursue a career in life sciences. So hopefully our efforts did have some impact, and we'll see some of these students joining our programs. We also worked with an organization called Upward Bound. So this organization is grant funded at Montgomery County Community College and other colleges. It's a program that engages with low-income and underrepresented high school student populations, really to prepare them for college. So we've been working with them now for about 1.5 years and bringing in these students from our 2 local high schools to introduce them to biomedical and bioprocessing career paths through hands-on experiments and talks about, advanced therapies. So I think it's fitting that I end with the future of our workforce in these high school students, and hopefully we're making an impact and encouraging them to come and join our programs. And I'll stop there and wait for any questions.
Maggie, we're going to hold off on questions until after Dr. Shuda McGuire's talk, but I can see you're going to be busy answering them just by looking in the chat.
Okay. Thanks, Emily.
This is so wonderful. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Kristy Shuda McGuire from the Wistar Institute, another member of this fantastic collaboration in Southeastern Pennsylvania.
Thanks, Sandy. Can everybody see my screen? Let me just get into a slideshow mode here. Okay. So I appreciate the opportunity to come back. I gave a talk last year and have some updates this year to our NSF Advanced Technological Education project, of which I'm the PI on, Expansion, Curriculum, Evolution, and Enhancement during Biotechnician Training, or Exceed BTT. So a little bit about the Westar Institute for those of you who aren't familiar. The Westar Institute is our nation's first independent biomedical research institute. And I put a little asterisk here because I was called out last year by Dave Miklos from Cold Spring Harbor. So he asked about Woods Hole, and the obvious answer for Woods Hole is that it's not biomedical. It was founded as Woods Hole Marine, right, biological laboratory. And then Cold Spring Harbor was not independent. Although it was founded 2 years before the Westar Institute, it was founded by the Brooklyn Institute of Arts and Sciences, which has the unfortunate acronym for its name of BIAS. So we will relay that on to Dave Miklos. So Wistar is named for Dr. Caspar Wistar, who was a physician, scientist, and teacher at the University of Pennsylvania, known for his collection of anatomical models, some of which we still have, sculpted by William Rush. It was his great nephew, Isaac Jones Wistar, who founded the Wistar Institute of Anatomy and Biology to house that collection and also initiate any other work for the increase of original scientific knowledge. Those of you who love science history, I encourage you to take a look at our website. We have a great timeline with all of the discoveries that have been made at Wistar. So here's a picture of the Wistar Institute today. There's that original building completed in 1894. We are a world leader in biomedical research with 30 labs headed by principal investigators. We are home to the now named Ellen and Ronald Kaplan Cancer Center. Our cancer center was the first National Cancer Institute, NCI designated cancer center for basic research in the country. We also have a vaccine and immunotherapy center, and then our newly named Hubert J.P. Schumacher Education and Training Center. So these are not pipes at Wistar, although they look old enough to be, but we have a pipeline of education and training programs serving high school students, undergraduate students, graduate students, and postdoctoral fellows. So I'm going to go through some of this quickly just to orient you to everything that's going on at Wistar. We've had a longstanding high school program, and then we have community engagement and outreach at all levels of high school, undergraduate, and graduate students. I'm mainly going to be talking about our biomedical technician training program, which is actually now a state registered pre-apprenticeship leading into our Fox Biomedical Research Technician apprenticeship. We run a life science course, a life science innovation course that started as a partnership with LaSalle University. And we have a program with Cheney University that combines our hands-on training in the lab with this life science innovation course. We have right now our first cohort of non-community college students participating in what we call our BTT program for all adults living and learning in Philadelphia. We are about to start our first summer of an NSF supported REU site. And we also have grant funding to serve more students at four-year colleges and universities in Pennsylvania to go through our hands-on biomedical technician training. Graduate students come from several universities to do thesis work with faculty at the Westar Institute. We also teach courses in cancer biology and vaccines and immunotherapy, which we have had undergraduate students take as well as postdoctoral fellows. We have a PhD program in cancer biology, formerly with University of the Sciences and currently with St. Joseph's University, and a PhD exchange program in cell molecular biology with the University of Bologna in Italy. And then our biggest population of trainees are our postdoctoral fellows, and then lots of other connections with our training committee and our Wistar Trainee Association. And as I said, I really wanted to focus on our biomedical technician training program. That was my entry into Wistar. I was a faculty member at Community College of Philadelphia for 11 years, where I was the academic coordinator for this program from the community college partner side, and am now over at Wistar. So the program was started back in 2000 by Dr. Bill Werner, who is now Professor Emeritus and our retired Director of Outreach Education and Technology Training at Wistar. But Dr. Werner led this program from 2000 to 2019 as a 2-summer program. During the first summer, the students came for 7 days to Wistar for a hands-on laboratory orientation, and that was followed by 2 3.5-week lab experiences. And then they would come back for a second summer to do a 12-week lab internship, usually in one of the 2 labs where they were placed in the first summer. And Dr. Werner had great outcomes for this program. So we had 77% of the students who completed the who started the program complete the program, including 52% underrepresented minority students and 71% female students. 64% continued their education at Community College of Philadelphia or a transfer institution upon completing the program, and 64% obtained laboratory positions within a year of completing the program. And what I always thought was the best possible outcome is if you add up 64% and 46%, it's actually higher than 100%. And I think it was a great opportunity for students to be able to get positions in the field that they wanted to go into before they even completed their next degree. So you all know what happened in 2020. We went through the process of recruiting and selecting, but we could not start a new cohort in the summer of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But I felt terrible about this, and I still wanted to find a way for the students who we accepted and thought they were starting the program in May of 2020 to finish it by August of 2021. We also did a deep dive into our data with our spare time that summer, and saw that of those students who didn't complete the program, most of the time it wasn't for a bad outcome. It was just that either one summer was enough for them to get a job, or they transferred into a program where they didn't have that next summer to be able to come back and finish an internship. And although most students completed the program over 2 summers, we always had some students who had completed either associates or even bachelor's degrees and were coming back and were using the program for workforce development. And they would do an early internship before that second summer, and they had some of our best outcomes in terms of employment. So we applied for a grant from GSK's Philadelphia STEM Equity Collective. We were one of the inaugural grantees to pilot an accelerated version of our biomedical technician training program. So we did this during the summer of 2021. We took that 7-day laboratory orientation where the students were coming just 1 day a week for 7 weeks. And we turned it into a 10-day lab orientation, 2 weeks straight. And then that was immediately followed by 2 6-week lab experiences. And we wanted to make these complementary. So we had all students do 6 weeks in an academic lab and 6 weeks in an industry lab. I wish I could say that we had the outcomes of that 2021 pilot before we put in our NSF ATE proposal, but you know how those deadlines work, and we just went for it and put in a proposal to build off of that 1 summer accelerated program and to expand it. For over 20 years, we just had one community college partner, the Community College of Philadelphia. We wanted to expand regionally in order to be able to increase the number of participating students. So with our NSF grant, between 2021, when we had one community college partner, by the end of the grant in 2024, we'll have 5 community colleges partnering, and we'll go from a cohort of 12 students up to a cohort of 21 students, and really regionalize the program, again, serving that Southeast Pennsylvania area, including parts of New Jersey, where the workforce for the growing cell and gene therapy industry is coming from in Philadelphia. So this was our class of 2022. So we had 15 students from both Community College of Philadelphia and Montgomery County Community College. And during the first 2 weeks of the laboratory orientation, they participated in a hands-on curriculum that was really based on authentic research happening at Wistar in the lab of Dr. Maureen Murphy. So Dr. Murphy studies the most mutated gene in all of human cancers, the tumor suppressor p53. And she looks at naturally occurring variants of p53, but rather than focus on why individuals with these variants have an increased cancer risk, what we are having the students focus on is how we can more personalize medicine and more effectively treat individuals with these naturally occurring variants. And so we, through this project-based curriculum, teach students how to pipette, prepare reagents, extract DNA, amplify DNA. They do a molecular cloning project, which includes bacterial culture. They isolate RNA and do reverse transcription followed by quantitative PCR. They purify and quantify proteins, gel electrophoresis on both nucleic acids and proteins. The protein gel electrophoresis is followed by Western blotting and detection. And then based on feedback from industry partners, we added an ELISA, an enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, and we really increased the amount of mammalian cell culture and assays that we were giving students experience on. So that 2-week hands-on laboratory orientation takes place in our new training lab at Wistar. It was actually completed in June of 2020, but didn't have students in it until January of 2021, again, due to the pandemic. But one of the things that's different about a classroom lab from our training lab is that it's set up so that each students have their own station that is set up more like a research lab. They have their own bench, they have their own set of pipettes. We like to let the lab take the lead. So students start protocols, and during the built-in wait times, that's when we're bringing them over to this area where they can, we can talk about the theory behind the experiments that they're doing, and then also have the students discuss their own results. Right across the hall from the main lab, we have a tissue culture room. And again, this is really why, based on the needs of industry of cell and gene therapy, that we need to be teaching and having students have more practice with mammalian cell culture. And so students are working in the main lab, and then 3 at a time, we're pulling them across the hall to do mammalian tissue culture. So that's the expansion part of the Exceed grant. For enhancements, we again went from a 2-summer to a 1-summer program that included both academic and industry lab experiences. And then we've really increased our online resources. When I was the academic coordinator at a Community College of Philadelphia, it was still a paper-based application. So we developed an electronic application system. We incorporated a learning management system. We adopted Canvas at Wistar, and an alumni networking system. So the current structure of the program has students doing that 2-week hands-on laboratory orientation. But because we are involving multiple community colleges to work within their summer calendars, we could only fit in 2 5-week lab experiences, one in an academic lab and one in an industry lab or core facility. So in the 2 cohorts of the 1-summer program, we've had even greater outcomes than the 2-summer program. So we've had every student who started our program in 2021 and 2022 complete it in 1 summer. There has been a decrease in the percentage of underrepresented minority students and women. We are hoping that this is going to recover post-pandemic, since those populations were really disproportionately affected in terms of their attendance at community colleges. We have better outcomes in terms of our percentage of students who are starting related positions and continuing their education, and we're still tracking our 2022 cohort, but that is also trending upward. We also have the mentors evaluate the students as part of the lab experiences, and we have really strong scores, average scores for outcomes like follows and practices safe laboratory procedures, uses reagents and lab equipment safely and appropriately, follows and understands protocols and standard operating procedures, calculates and prepares solutions correctly, plans and sets up experiments properly, performs experiments using technical skills, applies sterile technique and practices, collects and records data accurately, maintains a laboratory notebook, begins to analyze data and troubleshoot. And again, you can see this is one of the lower scores because they're just beginning as associate degree students. Communicates results to supervisors and demonstrates professionalism in their interactions with colleagues. We also had students assess their own learning gains using the SALG-URSA assessment, and we saw significant gains between the 2-summer program and our students who completed the 1-summer versions in thinking and working like a scientist, gains related to research work, gains in skills and their attitudes and behaviors as a researcher. And then we are moving more students to agreeing or strongly agreeing that doing research as part of this program confirmed interest in their field of study, clarified the field of study they want to pursue, prepared them for advanced coursework or graduate school, and then really importantly in purple here, prepared them for a job. As I said, this biomedical technician training program is a state registered pre-apprenticeship that leads into our newly named Fox Biomedical Research Technician, or BRT apprenticeship. Together, the BTT pre-apprenticeship and BRT apprenticeship equal 2,000 hours of on-the-job training and 144 hours of related technical instruction, most of which can be counted from the community college students' prerequisite courses in chemistry and biology. As I mentioned, with some additional support, including from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry through the PA SMART grant program, we are trying to expand registered apprenticeships in the biosciences. This provided actually extra support from our NSF ATE grant, so that we could pay tuition on the students' behalf so that the program could be credit bearing at their community colleges. And again, we are going to have students at four-year colleges and universities in their own cohort this summer that starts after the community college students. And then we are exploring opportunities for pre-apprenticeships at the high school level. We really want to grow this biomedical research technician apprenticeship program. It is registered as a group non-joint model, and group means that we can continue to add employers. We've had 12 apprentices complete the program. 83% remain with the employer with whom they completed the apprenticeship, and 100% remain in related positions. That group of four-year college and university students are actually going to be in a cohort this summer with students in our NSF-funded research experiences for undergraduate site called the Molecular Basis of Cellular Phenotypes. And those students will start their REU experience with the same 2-week hands-on laboratory orientation. So we're really interested in whether this 2-week laboratory orientation that we designed for community college students can also work with students from four-year colleges and universities. And then we are in the midst of our workforce development program, the Biomedical Technician Training Program for adults living and learning in Philadelphia, or that BTT program for all in Phil. We worked in collaboration with West Philadelphia Skills Initiative with individuals who were looking to upskill or reskill. We had funding through a vocational skills training contract from Philadelphia Works, which is the Workforce Development Board for Philadelphia County. And we had a great partner in Iovance Biotherapeutics. And so what we did with this program was, since they didn't have a community college from where to take their prerequisite courses, we put together a 10-week life science foundations course. We followed this with the 2-week laboratory orientation. And then the participants all did 10 weeks of an externship. They are in the process of that at Iovance Biotherapeutics. With the opportunity that upon completion of the program, they could transfer immediately into full-time positions at Iovance Biotherapeutics. We started the program with 17. We actually had 2 transition to positions early, and we have 13 still engaged in those internships at Iovance. So I think I managed to stay close to my time, and I could talk about this forever, but I am going to stop sharing, and I am happy, along with Maggie, to take questions.
All right. Well, we definitely have some questions. And Christy, if you and Maggie want to type your email addresses in the chat, I think that would be great as well. We won't make people go scrub through the video to find out. Thank you so much. This is all so impressive. A lot of work.
Yeah, and I guess if we didn't, say it enough, both my associate dean David Zuzga, who took the Life Science Foundations course, and me who led the laboratory orientation for that new BTT program for all and Phil cohort, participated in Maggie's quality workshop this summer, and we're able to incorporate that. And then Maggie is our liaison, so she's why the Montgomery County Community College students were the first expansion of our BTT program.
I think many people in the Innovate Bio community have benefited a lot from Maggie's work and experience and curriculum she's developed. So, okay, so I'm going to go on to the questions. And before I get to those, do want to ask or let you know we have a survey that we have, we'll tell you about multiple times maybe here, that really helps us with putting together talks and the work we do and making sure we do the best for the community. So I'm going to go through the questions that I have in chat first, and then Rachel, I'll get to yours. So there is a question about getting the results of the CGT industry academic collaboratives, and Christy kindly provided a link. So I'm going to refer you to the chat for that one.
Well, Sandy, I actually think that was the link to the eConsult report. We did make a report. We actually created a report for each of the collaboratives that delineated everything that was contributed by our industry partners. So I'm happy to share that.
Okay. Do you want to send me the link, Maggie, and I could put it on the Innovate Bio?
Actually, we didn't publish it. We just sent it out to all the stakeholders, but I'd be happy to send it to whoever's interested.
Okay.
Or maybe I will publish that now that if there's interest.
Well, you can. I'll find Maggie's email in the chat, so you can
yes,
her directly.
Happy to share.
If you get a lot of requests, then we can consider publishing.
Sure.
There's a question from Jackie Bellin at Raritan Community College about sharing your curriculum, and maybe you can explain again where that is.
Yeah, so that's at biomanufacturing.org. So there's curriculum units there. There's a tab for that at the top of the home webpage. And I think maybe Jackie also asked a question if faculty from Raritan could join the workshop in the summer. And yes, I was thinking of reaching out to you guys. It's not too far away, so we can connect through email and we can talk about that.
And Jackie, I'd like to encourage you to have your program join Innovate Bio. That way you'd show up on the map and we'd know you exist.
I'm trying. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Somehow I can't see myself, so I don't know. But there. Okay. So yes, I will look at all of the Innovate Bio site, and we're just developing a curriculum. So I'm so interested in everything that you've done.
We'd love to have you, and don't feel that you have to have everything done in order to join, because there are a lot of people who join right when they're at the very beginning of thinking about developing a curriculum, and we can, help you. We'd love to.
Okay, that'd be great.
We'd love to have you be part of the community. Also in the chat, I put a link to a webinar that Maggie is going to be participating in next week. You can find it on the Innovate Bio website. We're not the people sponsoring it, but all of our people are the ones giving the talks. And that's going to be about cell and gene therapy and regenerative medicine. Let's see, moving on. Mayor Kyla, I'm sorry if I'm massacring your name, as a question about financial support for students on the courses. And maybe both of you could answer that.
I'll be quick. For the courses we're developing right now, the 4 credit courses, we don't have financial support built into the grant. For the workforce course or certificate we're going to develop, that will be funded probably by grants from maybe the Department of Commerce or economic development organizations.
Thank you, Maggie. My name is Mayur Kajla. Thanks for answering that question. So I'm curious, like these 4 credit courses, how much do they cost?
Oh, well, it varies in different community colleges, but it's typically very good value. In Pennsylvania, I think a credit is less than $200. So a full
Oh,
credit course would be
yeah.
less than $800.
Right. That's definitely seems affordable there.
Mhm.
I've seen courses that are like in thousands, and then what could one do, if they cannot afford
I
that?
understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Uh,
And
Rachel,
I also had
I'll
the,
just say,
Christy,
and also that we write a lot of grants at Wistar, because this is something that we've always believed, that in order to diversify that pipeline, that you need to be able to pay participants for this training.
absolutely.
So we and I'm really excited this year that we are going up to $14 an hour for the students as part of the program. And then, as I mentioned, we have the additional support to pay that slightly less than $1,000 a piece for them, so that they can get the credits associated with participating in the program. And each of the community colleges counts it in a slightly different way. But for the students at Montgomery County Community College, it's actually a 6-credit
Internship course.
biotechnology internship
Yeah.
for them.
neat. Rachel, why don't you go next, and then I'll go back to the chat.
Thank you. So thanks, Maggie and Christy. This has been awesome. So my question is kind of 2 parts. So one is, could you speak a little bit more about how you recruit? And then 2, how you focus on underrepresented groups? Like, do you save certain slots for certain types of students? Or yeah, so I'd just love to hear more about that process.
So I think the answer for me is, we started with Community College of Philadelphia, which has a very diverse student population, as do many community colleges. But when we wanted to expand from 12 students, that's when we knew that we needed to go to other regional community colleges, because we didn't have the student application numbers from just one community college to support an expansion of the cohort. So I think, you've heard Maggie and I both talking about outreach and things that we're doing at the high school level to try to, increase the number of students that are interested in coming into this path. I don't know, Maggie, you want to?
Yeah, sure. So as far as getting to a sort of a diverse population of high school students, I work with a sort of a network of high school teachers and counselors and to recruit for the Bioman Academy. So we're really trying to get that diverse population of students. And then with 2 local high schools, that's part of the Upward Bound program that I mentioned, but also we have good connections and strong connections with those high schools to be able to go out there and talk about biotechnology and try and create that interest. But I find that getting to high school teachers is important as well. If you can get their excitement around biotechnology and advanced therapies, they will pass that on to more students than we could actually get to. Apparently, every high school student can be talking to 100 students. It's hard for us to talk to 100 students regularly at all different high schools. So it's a combination of talking to teachers, counselors, students themselves, principals, getting the word out, and trying to build that awareness. Once the awareness is there, the interest comes, because it's super interesting, as we all know.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Just to add on, Rachel, so this regional ization that we're trying to do with the biomedical technician training program, I have done both in-person and remote information sessions for the students. So it's as Maggie said, it's really all about the partners, and so your selection of partners is definitely going to determine what your applicant pool looks like.
Great, thank you.
Okay, we have a question for Christy about, do you include training in soft skills within the BTT program?
So we've incorporated this a little bit during the 2-week laboratory orientation, and then we also, have some workshops on resume writing and interviewing during the 10-week lab experiences. This was something that we were even more proactive about in partnering with West Philadelphia Skills Initiative for the workforce development cohort. So when the students were taking that life science foundations prerequisite course, they met for that course 2 evenings a week. And on the 3rd evening, they met with staff from West Philadelphia Skills Initiative for specifically the professional development and soft skills training. And our feedback from iAdvance, a little bit ahead of the end of the program, has still been that there aren't concerns with the technical skills. Any participant where they have some concerns are more about their professionalism in the lab.
All right, we have a couple more questions here. I'm going to ask what I think is the shortest one first, which is, has industry asked for any clean room behavioral training?
I think that came up with just the aseptic processing and the importance of working in a regulated environment. So that was a big part of both of the collaborative discussions with our industry partners. We don't have a clean room, but an interesting thing that came up was the partners felt like they could provide us with a universal gowning SOP because there's so much commonality, slight differences, but a lot of commonality in how to gown. And that would be very useful for us. We have a gowning SOP, but we want it to be as applicable as possible. So that was something that came out of the second collaborative. So aseptic processing behaviors in a clean room, understanding clean rooms, how they work, how you maintain them, all was part of the discussion.
Thanks. And then there's a question from Uwe about, do you have students that participate in the programs to strengthen applications to medical or veterinary schools?
Yes, we try to not prioritize those students who are just trying to strengthen medical or veterinary or dental school applications. We have always really, tried to think about the program as, the best fit. So what our program could do for the students, and then, how they could be ambassadors of the program. But we have had students go on to those things. And, I think it's, it's great. Lots of people spend time in a laboratory technician or a research assistant position on that road to those higher degrees. And so, it's fine. We see that as a good outcome, although, we try to give preference to students who are really trying to make a career in the industry.
Thanks. I know I get some of those students in my bioinformatics class at Shoreline, so I thought that was interesting.
We've also had students that thought they wanted to go to med school and then get into the lab and learn about these, exciting therapies and say, we can help the patients in other ways. You don't have to go to med school. So we'll for that realization too, until they're aware they don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So I'd like to remind everybody about our survey, that there's going to be this great webinar next Wednesday on regenerative medicine and cell and gene therapies that, definitely I would encourage you to go. The recording from this webinar will be on our website next week. And March 10th, we're going to have a webinar where John McDowell from Delaware Technical Community College will talk about CRISPR, and I will talk about a game that Maggie helped develop involving biotech careers and companies, the interesting things companies go through. And I hope to see you all then. And we're going to sign off. And I thank you for joining us.
Thank you.